Thanatophobia by VitaeLifeSolutions. What would you pay to know your chance of dying at all times? It's an interesting question, isn't it? Thanatophobia is pretty common to most living things. What if we could offer you a way of knowing exactly what your chances of dying were? That was the text message I received yesterday. I thought it was some sort of scam or hoax, so I did what I always do in those situations. I checked the number to see if it was legit. After Googling it, I found a link to a website, VitaeLifeSolutions LLC. It was a new, apparently legitimate company. They seemed to deal in those devices similar to those smartwatches you see everyone wearing. The thing was next level, though, claiming it could keep track of things like stress hormones, blood sugar, cholesterol, signs of infection. It pretty much tracked everything. Being a hypochondriac, I was instantly fascinated. If I could know my relative health at all times, maybe I could stop obsessing about it. That would be an amazing quality of life improvement for me. Then my phone chimed again. It was another text message. Would you like to join the Damarung revolution? Respond with yes to receive a free trial Damarung watch and monitoring device. Now I know how it works. Free trials are never free, but I just could not turn down the opportunity. To know that much about my health, to confirm my chances of dying on any given day, to have that much insight. There was no part of me that could say no, so I responded with yes. The phone chimed back with the message. Thank you for signing up for your free trial. We will be shipping you the devices at no cost, same-day delivery. Welcome to the VitaeLifeSolutions family. That message seemed weird, almost like they were now employing me. That and they were doing same-day shipping. My area doesn't really get same-day shipping, but I wasn't going to argue with it. If I didn't get the device that day, I would happily wait a couple days to get it. I spent a little while stuck in my head thinking about the promises of the device before getting back to taking calls. I worked tech support for a local hospital and had ignored the last 2 calls researching this intriguing new company. I spent the rest of the afternoon doing my job, till about 4 in the afternoon when there was a knock at my door. Given the current state of things, I attempt to avoid people as much as I can. So much so that I have a note on the door suggesting visitors call instead of knocking. I cautiously made my way to the door and peered through the peephole, just in time to see a man dressed in all black enter a black unmarked vehicle and drive off. I opened the door, and at the door was a smallish package with the words VitaeLifeSolutions LLC on the box. I picked it up and brought it inside. At the time, I didn't worry too much about the unmarked delivery vehicle, but hindsight being 20/20, I find it odd now as I recount this. I took the box over to my workstation and took a few more calls, then decided to call it a day. After making myself a cup of coffee, I decided to open the box. Inside was the Damarung watch, which had an odd hexagonal face. I flipped it over and saw the back didn't have lights like a Fitbit. Instead, it had what looked like needles. Then I removed a smartphone-sized rectangle. It had an odd metallic display. The display looked almost like a holographic playing card. On the screen, it displayed the message. Please put Damarung watch onto dominant wrist to begin. At first, I was ready to not use it. The watch looked like it would hurt to wear, or at least be very uncomfortable. Sadly, my curiosity tends to get the better of me, and I decided to place it on my wrist. A sharp pain flooded up my arm directly into my chest. It wasn't intolerable, just kind of like a pinch that went all the way up. The feeling then expanded into my abdomen and neck for a short moment. Then it all went away as soon as it had come, a small trickle of blood coming from my wrist. Then I heard a small electronic sound from the rectangle. What looked like a YouTube advertisement was playing on the screen. A bald, middle-aged man on the screen spoke as a tingy little ukulele song played softly.
Thank you for joining the Damarung family. We here at VitaeSolutions are very excited about the Damarung initiative. I am Elroy, your digital assistant and vitality coach. Now that you have placed the Damarung watch on your person, let's take a look at your biometrics. It seems you have relatively high cholesterol, a high resting heart rate, mild depression, eosinophilia, and are about 30 pounds overweight. This suggests you have the average American lifestyle. Your current chances of dying are 0.0013%. That's very good.
I have to admit I was pretty happy to hear that. That's a relatively low chance of dying today, which I thought would be higher, considering the fact this fucking watch just stabbed me.
A few rules about being part of the Damarung trial. Do not tell your friends and family about the project. Should anyone ask about the Damarung assistant or watch, tell them it is simply cutting-edge Swedish fashion. Secondly, do not attempt to remove the Damarung watch yourself. When your trial has ended, VitaeLifeSolutions LLC will come reclaim the device. Thirdly, always follow all instructions made by me, your digital assistant. Fourth, the Damarung trial costs no money to continue. All you have to do to keep your trial active is complete specific tasks occasionally. By putting on the Damarung watch, you have already agreed to these terms. Your current task, eat 1 banana.
I hate bananas, I said to the digital assistant. The screen turned an odd shade of red and a low harmonic note played.
Are you refusing the task?
What if I am? As I finished saying that, a bolt of pain shot up my spine as the muscles in my back began to spasm. Then as quickly as they came, the spasms stopped and I braced myself against my work desk as the pain in my spine subsided.
Muscle spasms are a sign of potassium shortage. I recommend you eat that banana, sir. Your current chance of dying is 3.4%.
I pulled myself upright and could feel sweat creeping down my face. I don't have any bananas. I don't like them. This was apparently the wrong answer, as another jolt of pain ran through my spine and brought me to my knees.
Pain-induced tachycardia can damage cardiac muscle user. Might I suggest we head to the store?
You are aware there is a pandemic out there, correct? I said through large, panting breaths.
If you wear a mask and head to the Target on Church Road, you will have a 0.0003% chance of coming into contact with any virulent pathogen. Currently, your chances of dying are 10.37%.
Fine, I will go, I shouted. After this declaration, the spasms in my back stopped. I stood up and slowly made my way upstairs to get ready to go to the store. While I pulled on a sweater, I thought about my current situation. It was possible that the spasms were caused by a lack of potassium. It's also possible this weird watch was responsible for them. How would that even work, though? It was just a glorified Apple Watch. The worst thing those can do is give you some nasty contact dermatitis. Maybe it was in my best interest to grab some potassium. I went downstairs, grabbed my cell phone and the digital assistant, and headed to the grocery store. As I turned on my vehicle, I noticed the odd chime of the digital assistant sound over the car speakers.
Might I suggest we take Willow Road to Church Road?
This was weird for 2 reasons. 1, the speakers in my car haven't worked in about a year, and 2, because my vehicle didn't have Bluetooth. That way is like 10 minutes longer. I'd rather get this over with as quickly as possible. I don't really like leaving the house.
Yes, but Main Street has approximately 40 times the number of accidents per year. I highly suggest we take Willow Road.
Not wanting to argue with the assistant, I agreed to take Willow. For shits and giggles, I decided to see if I could get the CD player working. As I pressed play, much to my surprise, the CD I had in started playing. Well, either the digital assistant had just fixed my car's stereo, or it was a happy coincidence. Not wanting to look a gift horse in the mouth, I enjoyed my music as I drove down the hilly road to my destination. The road was relatively abandoned, so that was nice. Though as I pulled into Target, I noticed the store was quite busy. The chime of the digital assistant sounded again.
I'm detecting a cortisol spike. Are you feeling anxious?
Of course I am. There's like more than 100 people in there right now.
Based on health data collected by your county, the location of this store and current biodata on the people shopping, your chances of infection are quite low.
The numbers, surprisingly, do not help me in this situation, I said. I exited the vehicle and walked into the store. My anxiety continued to eat at me as I made my way to the produce section. I grabbed myself a bunch of bananas and headed to self-checkout. As I waited, I found myself glaring at every person wearing their mask below their noses. It drove me around a bend, and at this point I could hear my heart thumping in my ears. This was hell to me. Normally, I would just have my food delivered, let someone else risk the current Wild West that was the outside world. But I needed these bananas right now, apparently. So I persevered and was out of the store about 10 minutes later. I entered my vehicle and turned it on. The digital assistant's chime went off over the car stereo.
Now quickly finish your assigned task.
It can't wait till I get home.
It can, but your current chance of death is 30% and rising.
I groaned as I removed a banana from the bundle and consumed it as fast as I could, the pulpy texture of the fruit grating on my nerves. Are you satisfied? I asked the watch.
Task complete. Current chance of death 0.0016%.
I felt a lot of my stress leave my body at this announcement. I had to admit, my muscles did feel a lot more relaxed, but I could not prove that wasn't just a placebo effect, so I took it with a metaphorical grain of salt. I drove my car home, taking the more cautious Willow Road. I arrived home and decided it was about time for bed. I put on my PJs and got into bed and put on my sleep music. Then came the chime of the assistant.
You appear to be trying to go to bed. I notice you are laying on your back. Might I suggest you migrate to your left side, sir?
Thank you, Elroy, but I always sleep on my back. It's really the only way I can sleep.
Sleeping on your back can make certain pulmonary obstructions more likely. It can also aid in the progression of sleep apnea.
Is this a task?
No, sir.
Is my chance of dying going up?
No, sir.
I am going to sleep on my back, Elroy.
As you wish, sir. Good luck to you.
The way the device said, "Good luck to you," was deeply concerning to me, but I was too emotionally and physically drained from the day to care. I closed my eyes and allowed myself to drift off to sleep. I, as usual, dreamed of nothing. I awoke with a burning sensation in my back. As I sat up, I noticed my sloppy breathing and began coughing harder than I ever have. The first thought that raced through my head was I caught something at the store. My Damarung watch was flashing. On the screen face, it said 55.1%. I had a greater than 50% chance of dying. In a panic, I thrust myself off my bed onto my stomach. I reached up to my nightstand drawer and pulled it open. I dug around past a dozen odds and ends and felt the L shape I was looking for. It was a small red inhaler I had got when I had bronchitis last year. I ripped off the cap and dropped the inhaler. My vision was blurry, so I fumbled desperately for the device as each breath got more labored. This was 1,000,000 times worse than the breathing problems I had when I had pneumonia as a child. I eventually clumsily found the inhaler, placed it in my mouth, and pressed down 6 times in quick succession as I took in the deepest burning breath I could. About 10 seconds later, my breathing was clear. The Damarung watch no longer showed a number. Great. I am either dead or the inhaler worked. Then I heard the chime of the digital assistant.
Sir, I am detecting a new chemical in your bloodstream. You appear to have inhaled a short-acting bronchodilator.
Yeah, I was having trouble breathing. I remember I had this little thing kept away, I said, waving the inhaler in the air to no one in particular. Can you tell me what the hell just happened?
You appear to have had an acute bronchospasm in your sleep, most likely due to sleeping on your back.
Okay, that's exactly what you said would happen, so I am going to have to ask. Did I have a bronchospasm or did you cause one?
Sir, I am simply a digital assistant. How could I cause a bronchospasm?
Then how could you know I was going to have one?
The Damarung watch is quite sensitive and cutting edge. I detected inflammation markers in your lungs and calculated a high chance of complications should you inhale any irritating particles.
I thought this over for a while. There is such a thing as coincidence, but I was finding it hard to believe that the same day I received this device, I happened to have crippling muscle spasms and bronchospasms in less than 24 hours. It was highly suspect that, and the fact that both incidences were followed by me not following Elroy's directions. That being said, though, it was hard to say what was the cause and what was the effect. Was Elroy punishing me for not listening, or was my body punishing me for not listening to Elroy? I noticed the sun was out and decided to check my clock. It was 9 in the morning. I slept about 11 hours last night. Pretty good, but I could sleep for another 2 if I wanted. I crawled back into bed, noticing my back hurt a little from the heavy breathing. The chime for the digital assistant sounded again.
Sir, you've already slept more than an adequate amount of time for the day. Might I suggest you wake up for the day?
I usually sleep about half the day or more, buddy.
Excess sleep can lead.
Okay, I shouted, tired of hearing the digital assistant. I got up and went to the bathroom, making sure to leave the digital assistant behind. I brushed my teeth, washed my face, tied my long hair back, and went back to my room. A curiosity was eating away at me. Elroy, what is my current chance of dying?
Sir, you currently have a 0.0006% chance of dying.
Wow, that's almost half of what it was yesterday.
Yes, sir, this is based on the assumption that you have learned sleeping on your back is a poor choice.
I found that last comment very suspect. But thanks to the power of mental gymnastics, I eventually decided sleeping on my side was probably a good idea, and I was actually making positive life changes. It was a lot easier than believing some stupid smart watch was trying to actively kill me. Technology can't do that. I grabbed my phone and digital assistant and proceeded downstairs. I heated up some water in the microwave and made a strong cup of peppermint tea. As I added a gratuitous amount of honey to my tea, I asked my Alexa to turn on my TV. I wanted to see how much the pandemic had accelerated. As a hypochondriac, I probably should not pay attention to such matters, but it's one of the only two things the news talks about anymore. I sat on my couch, alternating between sipping my tea and breathing in the hot steam coming from it. It was helping to soothe some of the lingering pain in my back and lungs. After about half an hour of watching TV, the digital assistant chime went off.
Your task for the day is to not go to your mailbox.
Why?
That is your assigned task to continue the trial, sir.
Well, that shouldn't be difficult. I don't actually check my mail usually. Best to just let it pile up anyway. As I finished my statement, I got a call on my phone. It was my supervisor at work. Usually they don't call before I check in for work on the computer. I decided I would let it go to voicemail and just try to lose myself in the news for a while. After I finished ingesting my daily requirement of news stories and decided to start doing some work, I spent most of the day helping the older staff at the hospital reset their passwords over the phone. It's pretty much 90% of my job. I know hospital security needs to be tight, but sometimes it seems excessive that I should make money to reset passwords for people. Considering it is usually very easy to do on your own in any other industry, it just kind of grates on my nerves. Around lunchtime, I got a call from my supervisor again. This time, I picked it up.
Alan, how are you doing today?
Said a voice that was not my usual supervisor's. I'm doing well. Who is this?
Oh, I am Jim. I'm filling in today. Anyways, I wanted to let you know we shipped you a new work laptop. It should be arriving today. When it arrives, please set it up ASAP.
Remembering my task for the day, I decided to play like I was not at home. I don't know if I was afraid of what would happen if I went to the mailbox, or if I just didn't feel like doing a laptop setup today. But either way, I didn't want any part of it. Yeah, no problem. I probably won't have time to do it till tomorrow, but I will get it done.
Oh, is it an inconvenience for you to do your job?
Said Jim, coming off pretty hostile. No, not at all. I am just going to be out of the house until tomorrow, and I am leaving before the mail usually arrives. I was lying, but he had no way of knowing that. Also, I don't like when people talk to me like I am a jackass.
Whatever you say, bud, you'll be home tomorrow, though. Correct?
Yeah, why do you ask?
Well, most of the night shift is sick, so I'm going to need you to work a double tomorrow. Thanks for all your help, champ.
Before I could respond, the call cut out. Now supervisors are well within their rights to ask tech jocks to do doubles when coverage calls for it. But I could not shake the feeling that I was being punished for not waiting by my mailbox. How dare this presumably new supervisor inconvenience me? I decided to order myself some food and jump in the shower to cool off. I really wanted to punch a wall, but the house was a rental. I really hate not getting my security deposit back. I turned on the water and tested the temp with my hand. The chime of my digital assistant sounded from my pants pocket.
Sir, the water you are using is far too cool to properly remove dead skin and bacteria from your body. Might I suggest making it hotter?
I really don't like my showers too hot, Elroy, I said, questioning why I even tried to object.
Sir, improper hygiene can lead to a number of undesirable skin conditions.
Let me guess. If I don't make the shower hotter, I am going to break out in an antibiotic-resistant staph infection, right?
I have detected some signs of dangerous microorganisms on your epidermis, sir. Quite astute of you to notice.
Fine, eh? I groaned as I twisted the knob to increase the water's heat. I jumped in my altogether too hot shower. and did my best to acclimatize to the unusually hot water. Then I scrubbed my skin until it was pink. This digital assistant was probably doing me a favor, but I was starting to feel like I was losing a lot of my autonomy. Then again, if it was right about the bacteria on my skin, it was saving me a very unwanted trip to the doctor. So all in all, I guess I could deal with a little bit of scalding water for the sake of my health. When I was done cleaning myself, I dried up and put on some comfy pajama-style clothes from the bathroom closet. The rest of today was hopefully going to be uneventful and relatively relaxing. I ordered some food, and after it had arrived, I turned on the TV and decided to watch some cartoons. Despite my age, cartoons are still my favorite form of entertainment. I watched about 6 episodes of some new cartoon I barely paid attention to. My trance-like state was only broken when I heard the mail truck outside. I got up and went to the window. Sure enough, the mail lady was placing a package from work into the oversized mailbox. Then she shut it and drove off. The digital assistant chimed.
Current chance of mortality is 99.1%. Please step away from the window.
My heart began to race. How was it possible that my chance of dying was currently so high? I froze in a panic, and the assistant chimed again.
Current chance of mortality is 99.3%.
Not knowing what to do, I ran to the living room couch, dove over it, and took cover behind it. I stayed behind the couch for about 5 minutes before starting to feel a little dumb. As I started to get up, I heard an explosion and the sound of shattering glass.